In 1916, the Canadian Expeditionary Force was desperately short on light machine guns. Since the Ross rifle had finally been taken out of service, there was a large number of surplus rifles, and out of that would come the HOOUT machine gun. That year, Joseph Hout, an engineer from Richmond, Quebec, adapted the Ross rifle's straight pull bolt action. His sample model, which shared 33 parts with the Ross Rifle Mark III, had a gas piston parallel to the barrel, which moved the sleeve of the bolt backwards, operating in that action. To absorb the excess energy, the bolt was then buffered. The entire mechanism was then shattered in a sheet metal. Hout copied the cooling system of the Lewis machine gun, then standard in the British Army and the British service. It fed from a 25-round drum magazine or could be belt fed. He then filed the Canadian patents of number 193724 on the 8th of March 1917, granted for November 1919, and number 193725 on the 13th of November 1917. In early September 1916, he approached the government to license product the weapon, meeting with Colonel Machi on the 8th of September 1916, and then he was hired by the government's Small Arms Experimental Department. The Dominion Rifle Factory, formerly known as the Ross Rifle Factory, built a finished version of the design under the supervision of the Assistant Inspector of Small Arms, Major Robert Mills of the Seafort Highlanders. It was tested at Quebec City on the 12th of November 1916, with a second one being a 650-round trial of an improved version on the 15th of February 1917. The Master General of the Ordnance, Blair, demanded a third test, firing approximately 11,000 rounds, half Dominion cartridge and half arsenal, on the 5th and 6th of March 1917. The HOOUT was examined by the Rockcliffe Rifle Range on the 22nd of October 1917, which led to S.H. Moonburn to recommend to be adopted in the British Army. To further the aim of adopting the HOOUT machine gun, Blair, A. Johnson, and HOOUT himself sailed to Britain, arriving in Standlin Heath on the 10th of January 1918 for an extensive British trial of the arms testing establishment at the Royal Small Arms Factory in Enfield. This took place between the 19th and 21st of March 1918, and the HOOUT competed against the Lewis, Hotchkiss, and then the Farquhar Hill. The results appeared to be very favourable for the HOOUT. The HOOUT did better in some tests than the Lewis. It was superior in snap shooting from the trenches, in quickness of getting into the action. Even muddy after firing 4 or 5 clean rounds, it was functional again without the need for stripping and cleaning. Blair also noted it was the only weapon in the trial able to suffer intermission and do so. In firing 10,000 rounds through the HOOUT, Enfield uncovered the fouling of the gas chamber at 4,000 rounds and the barrel being worn out at 10,000 rounds. Since this example had already had some 11,000 rounds fired before it came to Enfield's hands, this is understandable. Losing all varieties of Mark 7 ammunition it would have been likely to encounter, including the K, the KN, the J, and the US, they found the HOOUT had no major problems, though there was very unexplainable stoppages, and they did not require the special chosen ammunition the Lewis did. Furthermore, the HOOUT provided the able firepower of 4,000 rounds without oiling or cleaning, which the Lewis gun was unable to do. In a 22nd of October 1917 letter to the British Minister of Munitions, Blair said that tooling had already existed in Canada, and that the Dominion factory had already begun to manufacture the HOOUT, losing parts from the Ross rifles that were scheduled for scrapping. After exposure to it in France, Lieutenant General Arthur Currie, commanded the Canadian Corps, reported every soldier that came into contact with the HOOUT liked it, and on the 1st of October 1918 wrote requesting for the 5,000 to be purchased and obviously be allocated to the Canadian Expeditionary Force, arguing casualties required increased firepower for each remaining man, as well as to allow his men to answer to the growing number of German light machine guns. Ugly, but at 50 Canadian dollars compared to the Lewis $1,000, this was far cheaper and far more Sten gun-like in nature. The one drawback that the HOOUT had was a fully automatic firing mechanism only, with the provisions of a semi-automatic fire not being worked out yet. The magazine could be emptied in just 3 seconds, a drawback shared by the Browning automatic rifle as well. However, the rate of fire is slow like the Bren gun, so this was not really a problem. A magazine could be changed in at least 4 seconds, and an empty magazine could be filled with ammunition in 30 seconds. The HOOUT used a 25 stripper clip to feed the drum magazine as well. Additionally, the HOOUT actually functioned just as well upside down. Enfield noted 13 flaws, all with simple fixes, remarking that converting the Ross rifles would not be a complicated matter. Field trials in France showed the well-authenticated reports of few breakages and few stoppages. Enfield did recommend a number of changes, however. The barrel cover to be fitted with a continuous length of tubing and with a wooden foregrip and forend, allowing for the weapon to be a dispense on the rest, which then criticized for its fragility. A corrugated metal cover would be fitted on the body as well with a dust shield over the bolt handling. The magazine mouth would be a beveled of easy feeding. The magazine could be made up of a tin of metal to reduce the extensive weight. The breech cover would not be extended as far back as to prevent injury from the firer, strengthening the extractor to prevent the failures to feed with a thick rim case, one of the few feeding problems that were noted by the Enfield Small Arms Association and factory. The hand cocking lever to be deleted. This was actually puzzling because the weapon was actually needed to be cocked before the first shot. It was after all a Ross rifle conversion, so probably the mechanisms of the Ross still intertwined and did not change with the automatic fire. Also, removing 8 new parts and the barrel casing would be made into one piece to eliminate a minor double failure issue. The war ended before it entered service or even saw extensive use, and the idea was dropped after 1918, and HOOUT was one of the few people who actually spent money out of his pocket to make a weapon for Britain, and kind of went not really bankrupt, but he spent over 30,000 Canadian dollars for funding the project going overseas and testing it and building weapons for it and converting Ross rifles as well and buying up Ross rifles. So 4 specimens are known to exist as of 2015. The Army Museum in Halifax Citadel has one in Nova Scotia. The second one is at the original Seafort Highlanders Canadian Museum, which is coincidentally near the place where it used to work. This was actually Colonel Blair's personal souvenir, and it came completed with all the gizmos and attachments and even the first iteration of the Ross rifle, which had a stripper clip feed system, a heavier letter carrying case and a shipping case, and a leather strap to carry it around for walking fire. The fourth one is actually in the Canadian War Museum of Ottawa, Ontario, and the fifth one as well in the Canadian War Museum of Ottawa, Ontario. And as for the third one, because yes, we did say 4, 5, which are in the same place. Number 1 is in kind of the same place, but more of a alright, let's skip to the end and let's brag on. Well, the third one has not been located, and it was uncertain even if it was built in the first place. So there you go, everything you need to know about the HOOUT machine gun. I'm sorry that I've not done the main series again, but just hold this video for now. I swear I'm going to get back on track, but need to start filling out some videos. If anything, we could start doing some weapons as well. But this is a gun that never was. A gun that could have served service and actually saw extensive use on the front line, but never actually came into being in the British Armed Forces. Well, just like all the experimental and actual cool weapons, like the Thompson Annihilator, the HOOUT, and even the Mars to an extent, but that's a bit more 19th century before World War One. They could have saw the light of day, but due to their, let's just say, before their time aspects in nature, they were never adopted, and the war just came and finished. The war just ended. So there was a gun that never was, that actually saw extensive combat use, actually one of the few guns to actually be in combat before the war had ended. So hope you learned something, and it's not HOOUT, it's HOOUT, because he is from Quebec, and of course they would pronounce HOOUT, and not HOOUT, because HOOUT is more of a Canadian sounding of the name, but he's from Quebec, so it is Joseph HOOUT. So it's like HOOUT, HOOUT, HOOUT. It's like the guy laughing, that old guy laughing. Pretty funny me. HOOUT, HOOUT, HOOUT. So it's HOOUT. Anyway, I will not tease you anymore with my superb French skills and make you feel less bad. No, not less bad. Make you feel bad because Quebec is the best Canadian province. I'm just kidding. Saskatchewan is the best Canadian province. Anyway, guys, don't have a civil dispute. Be nice to each other. Drink milks out of bags, and remember to go into your backyard and fill up your bottle of maple syrup from your own maple tree. And have a good one, and pet your pet beaver and feed him good. Anyway, going to see you next one, and make sure you drive on the right side of the road, and make sure that your moose blinker lights are actually working. So until next time, a boot. Nah, I'm just kidding. Alright, hope you learned something, for real. And a boot, the HOOUT explanation, yeah, I kind of realised that HOOUT is not really a so I was like, let me Google this. Anyway, I hope you learned something. I'm going to stop with the Canadian antics now. Learn something.